the media. Today, Mr. President attended the National Economic Council, as we have just heard from His Excellency, the Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, and Governor Imo, and he commended the state governors for the cooperation they have extended to him and to the federal government. And today, in a very historic next step, Mr. President witnessed the presentation of a memo on Renewed Hope World Development Program, which is a strategy to support the macroeconomic reforms being undertaken by the administration. Having stabilized the macroeconomy, the next step is to drill down development to the lowest levels so that we can, in the 8,809 wards of the country, simulate economic activity which we believe will generate employment, reduce poverty, enhance food security, and even enhance social protection. And this is in line with our Constitution. Chapter 2 of our Constitution demands the government, federal, state, and local government, to harness the resources of the nation and promote national prosperity and efficient, dynamic, and self-reliant economy. This can only be done cooperatively. And Mr. President, as an ardent believer in federalism, today presented the world-based, Renewed Hope World-Based Development Program as a collaboration between federal, state, and local governments, a federation project, and to be funded with the increased revenues accruing to the federation account, as well as other programs that the federal government and states are undertaking in. Equally, to identify in each ward at least 1,000 economically active persons that will be supported, so that economic activity will be boosted in each ward of the federation. The idea is to generate to utilize this unique feature of our economy to generate double-digit growth in most of the wards as we march towards a $1 trillion economy. It is agreed the NEC passed a resolution endorsing and approving the Renewed Hope World Development Program as a collaborative undertaking between federal, state, and local governments, and the identification of the economically active individuals in the respective wards, as well as making the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning the secretariat of the program. It is noteworthy that in its most recent report about Nigeria, the International Monetary Fund, in the 2025 Article 4 consultation, precisely encouraged us along this path by saying that, Mr. President, bold reforms have improved stability and enhanced resilience, liberalizing and strengthening the function of the foreign exchange market, removing fuel subsidies, ending monetary policy, strengthening revenue administration, and raising hydrocarbon production. All have contributed to improve macroeconomic stability. Mr. President has always believed that to reduce poverty and food insecurity, we must invest collaboratively with federal and state in the creative energy of Nigerians and the geographical wards. And having achieved the successes at the macroeconomic level, that is why this program is unfolded by today at the National Economic Council, which graciously approved the program. Thank you.
And give you details later. At the same time, The President acknowledged some challenges bordering on environmental impact assessments around the major projects, his legacy projects, particularly the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road and the Sokoto-Badagry Road, and advocated for the need for collaboration between the national government and subnational government for a committee to be set up so that governors and the national government will work together for earlier actualization of these projects. For that reason, a committee will be set up, working with the Surveyor General of the nation and also the subnational governments to be on the same page for the interests of Nigeria. In fact, Mr. President's briefing today became a catalyst to strengthen our morale and motivate our people into working and doing the needful. So for us, the government, the President, Mr. President, has done extremely very well, and the reform policies of his administration are beginning to yield fruits, and the emphasis on impacting these dividends, direct impact on our people up to the grassroots, up to the common man on the street, which is the next stage of the program. The renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is working, and we want to feel it at our level, and we want it also to be felt at the grassroots level. I think that is about the two major items discussed today at the National Economic Council meeting. Thank you.
The Director General of NEMA today, the National Emergency Management Agency, today gave us a comprehensive presentation updating us on the current status of flood preparedness of the agency and the actions it has taken so far in 2025. They have produced a national disaster relief and response strategy and action plan for multi-years, 2024 to 2027, and that was with the support of UNDP. So very much a state-of-the-art, up-to-date piece of work. In addition, there's a Nigeria hazard risk countrywide analysis that has been done in conjunction with UNICEF to point out and highlight the key hazards and risk areas. There has been improved cooperation and coordination with civilian and the military authorities on relief operations. MOUs, indeed, have been signed with disaster relief units in the police, civil defense, and indeed the Nigerian Red Cross. And there has also been partnership with academia, with 6 universities offering disaster risk management and development study centers. So it's a whole of society approach to this constant, yearly, and increasing menace. But in terms of what the NEMA was advised to concentrate on was strengthening of the state emergency management agencies, and indeed establishing local emergency management committees, convening of emergency coordination fora, and activation, as I said earlier, of military, the police, NSDC, disaster relief units, as well as activation of emergency operation centers. These were activated nationally and zonally on 29th of May 2025, as well as deployment of emergency equipment to some high-risk states, and above all, some continuous engagement and communication and taking the national preparedness and response campaign to all 36 states and the federal capital. Of course, there are challenges, there are some weaknesses which are being worked on, drainage, delay in data from insecurity in some flood-prone areas, poor compliance with urban planning laws, and in particular building codes and so on. However, what NEMA gave was a call to action that all stakeholders should be involved in disaster issues, as it is a shared mandate across all levels of government and indeed all levels of the society. So state governments are enjoined to strengthen their state emergency management agencies and to operationalize, establish, and initiate local emergency management committees at the local government level, and to enforce physical planning laws, enforce compliance with building codes, and institutionalize monthly environmental sanitation and so forth, and prioritize funding for disaster preparedness. So at the end of the day, what the National Economic Council resolved was that, yes, there should be strengthening of the state emergency management agencies, but at the same time, there should also be funding. Last year, funding was provided, and I, as the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, was asked to put together an intervention program that would include funding for the ministry, first funding for NEMA, funding for Ministry of Water Resources, funding for Ministry of Budget, and indeed funding for Ministry of Environment. Those are the key ministries involved in this disaster relief effort. And of course, funding for each of the states and the Federal Capital Territory. So it was put together last year, and I think you all are aware of the figures. And this year, we are mandated to once again provide that funding to support in a meaningful and tangible way the flood prevention efforts. Thank you. Thank you.
The President's memo or proposal to us this afternoon was in sync with our thinking on how best to strengthen the economic activities at the world level. So the whole idea is to identify, at least in each electoral ward, 1,000 individuals to make them economically active. And once that is achieved, it will resonate all over. Because as I speak to you, you must have been told that we are earning more money as a result of these policies. These more monies come to states in form of allocation, also comes to local government to strengthen their legacy projects. But of course, if you are building an infrastructure, it takes a long time for a 38-kilometer route to be completed. But before that is done, there are artisans, there are the vulnerable group, there are the low-income earners at the lower level that needs to be supported. So something that will act as a stimulus package to stimulate economic activities. We were thinking about that when President now presented his memo. So we were very happy and excited, and all of us were in agreement that it is a program that we want doing, and we signed to it. Thank you.
Is that in each of these 8,809 wards, they are unique in different ways. Some might be fishing communities, some might be farming communities, some might be mining communities, some might be trading communities, And by focusing on their uniqueness and identifying at least 1,000 individuals in each of those wards, and they will be identified locally, not nationally, and then supported by the combination of both local, state, and federal governments, as provided for by Chapter 2 of our Constitution, specifically Section 13, which requires collaboration by all those in government. We believe this will catalyze economic activity in each of those wards, therefore supporting doubling or tripling of production in some cases, expanding economic activity which will support employment generation in those wards, as well as increased incomes, reduction in poverty, and better social protection, because once economy is functioning better in a ward, even the local social protection will benefit from that, as well as enhancing food security and nutritional outcomes. Thank you.